Watch in the corner here, you're gonna see the girl in the all black twerking. She's grown woman. She looks like mid-30s, maybe late 30s. You got her friends cheering on other people in the restaurant as well on the other side to twerk. Now, this video right here is something that I really wanted for us to react to and highlight. I think that in society today, there's an epidemic of people twerking everywhere. People don't know how to act in public. Kids are cussing out their parents, and et cetera, et cetera. So this right here is a perfect example of what society is diluted to. You got grown adults. I said enough. I'm just gonna show the video. So this video doesn't have any sound, but watch in the corner here. You're gonna see the girl in the all black twerking. She's grown woman. She looks like mid-30s, maybe late 30s. You got her friends cheering on other people in the restaurant as well on the other side to twerk. So with this video, this is one angle of the restaurant. Now the owner of the restaurant actually comes along and he decides to say something about the twerking because he saw what was going on. So I'm about to play that video for you guys right now.
75% of my customers are ladies, and I want men to show respect for themselves for how they carry themselves here. So how can I tell the men to respect themselves and you guys are twerking on glass here? If you want to do it, get the fuck out my restaurant, because I did it for our people and I did it for our culture. So don't do it now. Don't do it again. I don't want to hear it. If you don't like it, get out, because I don't need your money. I need to provide something for my people, and don't do it again. Thank you.
So in that situation, this video is about a year old. I think this happened last year. So in this situation, do you think the owner was right in telling the customers, don't behave like that in my restaurant?
Yeah, he got a right to sit here and do that. That's not what his restaurant's about. If his restaurant was like a hood place or a stripper or something, that behavior is acceptable in certain spots. But if you're going out to eat and dine, and what the situation is, there could be kids there, there could be anything else the situation is, so you're gonna influence. But this is what we were talking about earlier. It's like the influence of people thinking that's okay to do. Yeah. You see somebody do that, so someone's gonna repeat that because they've seen it and thinking that's cool to whatever it is. Timing and places is all what it is, bro. If you're in a private setting, who am I to sit here and tell you what to do? But if we're all in a public situation where there's kids and there's family, it's not gonna be as comfortable just because you wanna have fun that you decide to think that that's fun and everybody should be accepted it. And then if someone says something, it's gonna be a problem. You mind your own business, da 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 da. Well, that is my business because you're doing it right in front of me. Mind you, I'm a dude. I'll be like, hey, I ain't got no problem with y'all situation, but I understand where the owner's coming from, where you gotta respect yourself at the end of the day, right? This is about the respect. I don't care if it's a dude, girl, I don't care what you're doing. Any nudity, any profanity or situation, I'm not saying you can't do these things, but do these things in respect to the situation of other people. I don't think people think about people anymore, you know what I mean? So that's what you get.
I think, man, these people are extremely disrespectful to the establishment and to themselves. I think that especially when you get to a certain age, I think you see a lot of people, especially in their 30s, maybe early 40s, acting like they're 16, 18. You know, they're saying 40 is a new 30, 30 is a new 20. What are you gonna say, 16 is a new 10? Like we get so obsessed with being young and to the point where we try to act young to like we're just becoming degenerate. It's just not acceptable. I think I applaud this owner for doing so to save his business. And moving forward, he might be able to get people in, I guess, a higher class. I don't want to say in terms of money, but I guess people who carry themselves better in his establishment and who would be willing to spend more money. I just don't think that, I hate to say this, but it also looks bad on people of color when they're doing stuff like this. And I'm not saying all people of color do this, but let's be honest here, like when one black person does something, we all do it.
We wild. We wild as a culture. Like I remember, it's not everybody. You can't class everybody in the situation is, but if you see what our culture is, and you see, like we said, if you watch on the internet and you see what our culture is, what's represented in our culture. So that's what this is what you see. So you know what I mean? So it's not common to say what you see is what you do. So this is what you see and this is what people are doing, and people follow these things thinking that it's cool, it get likes, it's just like the thing. So we're in a technology world, and imitation, it seems like it's, you know what I mean? It seems like it's taking over. People like to imitate things and get the same reaction or get this. Like, we're living in a different world in different times, man. So you just gotta, you see it, you understand it, and right there, that's why mass shootings and all these things kind of happen. Like, it's everywhere, and the influence is what you see.
Yeah.
So
do you think that, I know not to make it about race, but have you ever been to a Caucasian restaurant where you see that kind of behavior? Not necessarily twerking, but like they've acted out in some way.
I think the thing about it is, I don't think it's a race. I just think it's a human thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I think Caucasians, or if you're going white folks, you're going to different places, your different situation is their outbursts might be different. You might have a drunken guy that has some history, whatever situation is, and he can get violent or whatever it is. Black folks, you got girls twerking. You know what I mean? Different cultures have different situations, but I think it's just people in general. When you see something and you're influenced by something, to them, that's like a stamp of approval. Yeah. Like when they're twerking in there, you got girls cheering on girls, and then they look at me. But what are we looking at?
Let me ask you from let me speak from a different angle here. Do you think they were drunk or that was them sober?
Could be both. Could have been, it could be their personality naturally, and if they're drunk, then you already know it goes off to what you want to do in the first place. So like all those type of things, when we're watching clips, it's kind of hard because just like anybody can edit it, anybody can see things you don't like. So you got to look in totally. But just for the behavior of it, you're not going to a place to twerk because you're drawing the attention to yourself. You're doing all these things where people did not come for that kind of performance. People came to sit down and eat and have a good time. And then now the whole space is twerking, and it's like the guy who runs it is like, yo, I didn't buy a strip club. I didn't do the situation. You know what I mean? So it's a different. You just gotta, when you go to certain places, just follow rules. Everybody, you know what I mean? Humble is like, the rules are not bent for you, or a situation is because you want something. You're going to establish it to pay and have a good time. That's what you do. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So now to follow up with the solutions part of it, do you think that the owner could have did anything differently, or he just did it?
No, he did it brilliant. Yeah, he did it brilliant. I ain't talking. We ain't going back and forth about who was wrong. Yo, this is my spot. Do not do that. If not, get out.
Get out. Yeah.
It's very simple. Like, that's what it is. If he condoned it, he would have no problem with it. But he had a problem with it, and he addressed it. Everybody. He didn't say, he didn't pick out one person, whatever the situation is. He made it a point. He's having men to come in here and be dignified towards women. And if men asking to men to do it and the women are not going to do it, then it's a contradiction on his part. And then now his establishment is all up in the air and it's not what he wants to run. So he was clear on what he wanted, and I appreciate that more than anything else.
I'll give you another perspective on it. So I think a solution could be, you know how sometimes you go into the mall and they'll say like, if you have no shoes, you got pets, you can't come in. Do you think, with the times, do you think people should have signs saying no twerking? Bro, I mean, that's a solution.
Hey, man, I wouldn't be surprised to see it.
No twerking allowed, man. Like, I'm saying.
No, I really don't know, man. I'll be honest with you. If I see that, I don't even know if I see a sign like that. I wouldn't be surprised, but if I see a sign like that, I'd be dropped and laughing and see some stuff like that. Like, no twerking allowed. Like,
you see a sign of a girl like that too.
Like, I've never seen a twerkaholic before. I've never seen someone that could that twerks anywhere and do anything situation. I understand it's accepted. Like, nowadays, nudity is accepted, right? So it's not a big deal to most people. But I think if that was in a younger establishment, or something else where people, I think that would be way more accepted to what it is. I just think that was an older place. The people stuck down. People look like they're dressed up. They look like, you know what I mean? It's a different place. I just don't think that place and the twerking meant for the situation. So, and I don't think that guy wanted his establishment to be that.
I'd probably give the customers a pass if they were all drunk, but I don't see the whole restaurant being drunk because the one girl twerked in the corner and they were cheering on. So it was almost like people got like the encouragement from their peers, like, okay, yeah, you too, yeah, you, and everyone got hyped up.
Human nature is attention.
Yeah.
So if a female's gonna get a certain attention, the situation is, and another female's like, well, I look better than you, and my ass is bigger than, and then it just connects and it keeps going all over the place. You get things like that, but yeah, we're human nature, man. People like attention. People like to be appreciated, so people do things, and we're in the internet era where attention gets you paid. So this is what, you know what I mean? So this is what it is.